If you leave him alone, does his popularity wane? But he gets away with the crimes. And if you go after him for the crimes, his popularity increases. It's good for business. And yet it's objectively appalling that a convicted sex offender who has stolen secret documents from the government that he was supposed to be running for the protection of the country, and who continues to tell absolutely nonsensical lies about having won an election, is still in with a very good chance of winning the presidency next year. It beggars belief. And yet I have to admit to you that I like talking about it. I shouldn't like talking about it. I should be struck dumb with the bleakness of the situation. I don't even know that it is a story that has parallels, whether you say it reminds me of 1930s Italy or it reminds... I went with cults earlier this week, and that's all I've got. It's like, Jonestown or something like that, where people believe things, that people put faith in an individual who is such an egregious liar that you're either 100% on board or 0% on board. You can't be a little bit pro-Trump, I don't think, any more than you can be a little bit anti-Trump, because it's cultish. It's not logical or intellectual now, this process, for people who still like him or support him. The secret stealing sex offender who continues to lie about the election and who essentially incited his own supporters to try to kill his own vice president is neck and neck with Joe Biden in the polls. And people are now doing what they always do and saying, I'm not sure that prosecuting him is the right idea. It might help him. And of course it will help him, because he sells, like all cult leaders, a narrative of persecution and redemption. I'm the only one that can save you from these unspecified horrors, or these fake horrors, whatever they may be. And the media doesn't know what to do. What do? You put a headline on, Donald Trump says he is a victim of persecution and prosecution, but you don't. What an equally valid headline would be, the sex offending secret stealer continues to tell egregious lies about what he did in the immediate aftermath of the election. It's not even an opinion, that. It's just counting. The defence is likely to be, as I understand it, he genuinely believed that the election was stolen from him, therefore he wasn't lying. But the queue of people telling him that there's some footage of him complaining that Mike Pence is too honest. There's actual footage of him saying, you're too honest. But what year did he get in? Was it 2016? Was it 2016 or so? But the idea that we still don't know how to report this, we still don't know how to deal with it. And we're still running comment pieces. The Daily Mail looks very, very close to being a cheerleader for him, even now, when he is established as a sex-offending secret stealer. It's incredible, really. But again, this is where my guilty conscience kicks in, because I find it absolutely fascinating. And I don't even know whether talking about it from this perspective adds to the issue or adds to the problem. 10 minutes after 11 is the time. So, defiant Trump flies in to deny 2020 election conspiracy charges. It's his third appearance before a court last night as a criminal defendant in 4 months. It is obviously unprecedented, pleading not guilty to charges of conspiring to defraud the United States government, conspiring to obstruct an official proceeding. We know that he did those things. We know that he did those. We watched him do those things on live television. He continues to do those things. And yet there is perhaps a defence, a nuanced defence, which Boris Johnson also tried, in claiming that when I told you something that wasn't true, I believed it was true. Therefore, I am not guilty of the offence that you accuse me of. I don't know whether that's what mens rea means in jurisprudence, in sort of legal technicality, but I think it might be what jurisprudence means. Conspiracy to impair, obstruct and defeat the federal government function through dishonesty, fraud and deceit. Repeatedly lying about voter fraud and pressuring officials to keep him in power. We've seen the tapes. And yet, it still continues. The support still continues in defiance of pretty much any imaginable value that we previously thought was close to sacrosanct. Even if democratically you disagreed hugely with somebody, you thought there were checks and balances in place, is to to prevent these kind of occurrences from happening. And I'm not getting bored with pointing out the same thing again and again and again, but the fact that you can have somebody, I mean, what would the equivalent be outside of politics? I don't think it works outside of politics because the laws are much more robust, you know. The laws for selling washing powder, for example, in an advert are much stronger than they are for political advertising. You can put a claim on the side of a bus, for example, that's complete bobbins, but you couldn't do if you were flogging grapefruit juice. I mean, you simply couldn't do that. You say, buy this grapefruit juice and the NHS will get £10, when it wasn't true. But you can say, vote for Brexit and the NHS will get £350 million. You know, the rules are completely different. So I don't even know if there's an equivalent outside politics. But the willingness of somebody to completely subvert reality, to completely fake news, to completely abandon any semblance of seriousness, let alone objective reality, to essentially campaign on a platform that says up is down, black is white, left is right. It still defies description. The media still don't know what to do about it. It's a good piece in the Eye today by their chief foreign commentator. The headline is, "Broadcasters must stop bending over backwards in the name of balance." The spiralling legal problems of Donald Trump have again highlighted that balance in news reporting is a myth and that aiming for it is never a good idea. So Fox News do not have this problem. They've already gone in on nonsense with regard to the latest court case. They just get Trump or one of his acolytes on and allow them to blame everything on Joe Biden and his politically motivated Justice Department. And people see it on Fox News and they think it must be true. It's bobbins. It's absolute bobbins. Trump is a sex-offending, secret-stealing liar. But on the other hand, of course, he isn't. There is no other hand. He just is. What do his supporters say? Do they say, yes, he is, but also Biden something, Biden, Hunter Biden something? Or do they say, yes, he is, but this is just a witch hunt? You say witch hunt's got two meanings, hasn't it? It's a witch hunt. You say witch hunt. The hunt for the sex offender, the hunt for the secret stealer, or the hunt for the election fraudster? That's three hunts. When you read these articles saying, oh, this is going to help him, this is playing right into his hands, what's the alternative? Not to pursue people for being sex-offending, secret-stealing election fraudsters? No, that's fine. Don't do that because it'll just give him more support. If we seek to punish him for being a sex-offending, secret-stealing election fraudster, that will actually increase his support. Therefore, don't seek... Do you see what I mean? There's the problem, isn't it? We got there in the end. It's only 20 past. We got that. That's the problem. If you leave him alone, does his popularity wane? But he gets away with the crimes. And if you go after him for the crimes, his popularity increases. But he could end up pardoning himself from a prison cell and marching straight into the White House. I've now put a lot of information in front of you, some opinions and at least 3 questions. Please respond in whatever way you see fit by dialing 0345 6060 973. But at the heart of this is a question, I think, about media and what it could or should be doing differently. Can the media do anything differently on this? You're still reporting it as if there are two sides to the story. Here is a proven sex-offending, secret-stealing election fraudster. It's proven. Might not be the right kind of proof to secure criminal convictions in every case, but it is just there. You've heard him telling lies about the election. You've heard him talking about being a sex offender. You've seen him convicted of it in a court. You know that he stole secrets because you've heard him on tape showing them to people. He is a secret-stealing, sex-offending election fraudster. So how is he still, I will ask that question again as well, how is he still neck and neck with Joe Biden? 0345 6060 973. And how much of it is the fault or the responsibility of the media? And if you're more plugged into American media than I am, that would be very helpful, I think. 0345 6060 973.